The people of the Virgin Islands celebrated the 90th birthday of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on April 21, 2016. The Virgin Islands also this year recognized the 50th anniversary of her first visit to the territory on 23 February 2016. His Excellency the Governor, Mr. John S. Duncan, OBE, Deputy Governor, Mrs. V. Inez Archibald, CBE, members of the Queen Elizabeth II 90th Birthday Planning Committee, and local recipients of Queen's Honors visited 12 schools across the territory to educate students about Her Majesty the Queen's Honors and the 90th birthday celebrations for the Queen. The schools visited included the Brigado Flax Educational Center, the BVI Seventh-day Adventist School, the Jos Van Dyke School, Francis Lettsome, Isabella Morris, Robinson O'Neill Memorial, and Leonora Delville Primary Schools. Governor Duncan spoke to the students about the significance of the celebrations in honor of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's 90th birthday and her first visit to the territory.
Is the 90th anniversary of Her Majesty the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. So it's a very, very special year. And to recognize that special year, the Cabinet, the government of the territory, asked me to ask the palace if we could have the birthday on her actual birthday, because usually we have an official birthday, which isn't her birthday at all. It just happens to be the day that officially we hold the birthday celebrations. But the government wanted to signify that our attachment as a British Virgin Islands to Her Majesty the Queen and celebrate it on her actual birthday, which is 21st of April. Okay, anyone got their birthday next week? No one share their birthday? Oh yeah, someone over there. And someone over there too. Well, it's actually my birthday next week as well. But I'm not 90. It also is the 50th anniversary of Her Majesty the Queen's very first visit to the Virgin Islands. She's been here twice. She came in 1966 and 1977. And she came with her husband, Prince Philip, and they had a huge, big Cadillac car when they drove all over the islands. So she's been here twice, and she has very fond memories of her trip. So, why do we have a governor? Well, the Virgin Islands is an overseas territory of the United Kingdom. We are part of Her Majesty's realm. So that tells us a little story that goes back into history. 100 years ago, the governor was responsible for everything. Everything that happened in the territory was for the governor to take decisions on. And 400 years ago, that was the same in the United Kingdom, in Britain. The king took responsibility for everything, decided everything. But today, as we move forward and we get more what they call self-government, we take more responsibility for what we do, that changes. So now the Queen's role is mostly ceremonial.
His Excellency also educated students about the role of the governor.
Lots of ceremonies with people on horseback and in carriages, but she still remains a very important person. So she, behind the scenes, quietly, without anybody seeing, she knows what's going on, and she tells people in the government whether she likes it or whether she doesn't like it. So, the governor is Her Majesty's representative in the Virgin Islands. Many people still think that the governor is responsible for everything. So they write to me and tell me, we need you, governor, to do this, and we need you to change that. But those days are long past. Nowadays, most things are the responsibility of your elected government. And who is the head of your elected government? What's his name? Come on, say it louder. Thank you. So, Dr. Smith and his government are responsible for most of the things that happen in the territories. But because you're an overseas territory, you still have a governor. And the governor is directly responsible for law and order and disaster preparedness. So the police work for me, which is what you'd expect. If I'm responsible for internal security, I have to make sure that the police are doing their job. But everything else is responsibility of your elected representatives. And they have a cabinet every week, and I'm going to one in a few moments, where they decide what's going to happen in the territory. And I chair the cabinet. So the governor is still in charge of the cabinet and chairs the discussion. And when things have passed from the cabinet to the House of Assembly and they become new laws, the governor has to sign. And if the governor doesn't sign, there are no laws. So the governor still has influence and responsibility, but it's very different to what it used to be like. And when the governor is not in the territory, there is a deputy governor who takes over. And the deputy governor is who? Do anyone know who she is? No? No? No one knows who she is? Ah. Right. She is Mrs. Archibald. She's a BV Islander. She has been the Speaker of the House of Assembly. So the Deputy Governor is always someone from the BVI. And the Governor is always someone from the United Kingdom. So the two of us work together to carry out the Governor's roles. And in the Caribbean, there are several other territories. There are neighbors, Anguilla, Montserrat, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Cayman Islands. And so they all have the same process with a governor who chairs the cabinet, is responsible for internal security, and also, in terms of internal security, I have the National Security Council, which is a body where the Premier, the Deputy Premier, and I, and the Police Commissioner decide what is to be done about some of the problems that we have. So, formally, also, the governor is responsible for external affairs, so dealing with foreign countries. But in the region, because the BV Islands have been responsible and led their country well, they have a delegated responsibility to deal with all things in the region. So, it's a partnership between your elected representatives and the Queen's representative, the governor. And one thing I should say is many people think that the governor represents the United Kingdom government. They think that I work for Prime Minister Cameron. That's not actually the case. The governor is appointed by Her Majesty the Queen. The governor is, strictly speaking, the most senior public servant of the territory. So my role is to talk to the government of the United Kingdom with the Premier to explain the position of the Virgin Islands, how we see the world, how we see challenges ahead, and work with the United Kingdom government so that we can agree the way forward for the territory. It's an important distinction which is often forgotten. So, there are other types of responsibility that the governor carries out which are more formal. So I do open events, I do make the speech from the throne in the assembly, I do cover elections and make sure that they are free and fair, and I also deal with prisoners and the prisons and make sure that they are run properly, and the courts to make sure that they run properly, so that when someone goes to court, it's efficient and effective, and you get a quick decision. Now, as you can imagine, all that doesn't always work very well. There are always problems, and always problems for the governor and the premier to sit down and work out together how we're going to fix them. And I would hope that all of you will have the chance, I don't know if the school has done this, to go to the old Government House Museum, which is where the governor used to live, and you can see the history of the governor. and you can see the old uniform that we used to wear with feathers on the hat. You should go and see that. It's worth a visit. And it's part of your history. And you will see that I don't wear feathers on a hat. I wear a suit because we are a modern territory. And we have come a very, very long way. When you sing your song, the territorial song, and you look back over the distance that your ancestors have come, it is a terrific story. The United Kingdom have never come in to take back the power that they have given to your elected representatives. And we are one of the few overseas territories in the Caribbean to have that record. And during my time here, I hope that we remain in that position. And the governor is appointed for 4 years. And that's the standard length of time that a diplomat, which is what I am, is appointed. People think that it's 3 years and the possibility of extending, and you hear the press say, the governor wants another year's holiday. It doesn't work like that. It's actually 4 years with the option to do the 4th year. You can leave early. But I have no intention of leaving early because I like working in the Virgin Islands, I like working with the Virgin Islands people, and I am proud to be your governor.
Deputy Governor Mrs. V. Inez Archibald, CBE, educated students on the role of the Queen, the role of the governor, the structure of the government, and 90th birthday celebrations.
The Queen's birthday, which, as you know, is celebrated every year in which month of the year? April this year, but usually which month? I know because I come up here at a certain time of the year and a certain month for the celebrations that are held up here. So which month is it usually held? In June, that's right. And everybody else is celebrating in June this year except the Falkland Islands and the BVI. In other words, we are special. Because the Buckingham Palace, what is Buckingham Palace? It's where the Queen lives, right? I went there twice, it's a lovely place. The Buckingham Palace gave approval for the BVI to celebrate the Queen's birthday this year on the actual date of her birthday, which is the 21st of April. So we are special. And as you probably know, 50 years ago, when none of us was really born, 50 years ago, the Queen came to visit. So we are also celebrating that 50th anniversary of her visit. She also came a second time in 1977, and we have a booklet which is going to be published and which the Registrar General is going to tell you about, and a lot of the information about that visit, in fact, both visits will be in that booklet. Now, Cabinet, the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands, who's in the Cabinet? You know who's in the Cabinet? Governor is in the Cabinet, and the name of the present governor is Mr. John S. Duncan, OBE, is the chairman of the Cabinet. And then the other members are the 5 ministers of government. Who are those 5 ministers? Dr. the Honorable D. Orlando Smith. Who else? Dr. the Honorable, come on, Civics, Kedrick Pickering. And then Honorable Ronnie W. Skelton, Honorable Mark Vanderpool, and Honorable Myron Walwyn. So the members of the Cabinet appointed a committee to make sure that the plans for the celebrations are carried out well. They have appointed myself as Deputy Governor to be chairman of that committee, and we have 2 members of that committee with us this morning. We have the Permanent Secretary, Mr. David Archer, and the Permanent Secretary in each ministry is actually the chief administrative person in the ministry who is responsible for the departments under that ministry. So we have him, and we have Mrs. Ben, who is the Registrar General, with us this morning. Then we have the chief administrative person in the Premier's office. The Premier is Dr. Smith. We have the director of the BVI Tourist Board. Who is the director of the Tourist Board? She's from Virgin Gorda. Miss Shireen? Not Shireen. Sharon Flax, yes, the director of the Tourist Board. The Deputy Commissioner of Police, who is not with us this morning, Commissioner James. The Director of Culture, the Director of Communications. We have the Registrar General, as I mentioned earlier. And we have the Executive Private Secretary in the Governor's Office, Mrs. Carolyn Stout-Igwe. Policy Officer, that is one of the English staff in the Governor's Office. And the Sister Islands Coordinator. Who is the Sister Islands Coordinator? He's from Virgin Gorda. He's standing right there, Mr. Vincent Wheatley. So he is the fourth member of the committee that we have with us. Now, yes, give your Sister Islands Coordinator and your Director of the Tourist Board a hand. Good. Now, there are some overseas territories, of which the BVI is one. Do you know what the other overseas territories of Britain are? You know which islands those are? BVI, Anguilla, yes. Turks and Caicos Islands, yes. Two more. Montserrat, another one. Cayman Islands. You're on the ball. So, those are the overseas territories, and each one has a governor that is appointed by the Queen. That governor is usually appointed for 4 years, but they have the option of whether they will remain for the 4th or not. Our governor in August will have been here for 2 years. Now, when the governor is absent from the territory, somebody has to do the work that the governor does. So if I am here, I am appointed to act as governor, and if the governor happens to be away at the same time, and as I am away, then somebody else is appointed to act. Mr. Elton Georges, CMG, Mr. Robert Mathavius from the Financial Services Commission has acted. So the work of the country can go on. Now, as I said, the governor is the chairman of the cabinet. I told you who the ministers are, who are also in cabinet. But you have the Attorney General, who is also in cabinet, and then you have a cabinet secretary, who is also the secretary to the National Security Council. Now, the National Security Council is that body that considers our security internally. And that body is the governor, the premier, the Attorney General, and the cabinet secretary as recording secretary to that body. That means it's time, teacher. You have some automatic bells around here. Now, one of the other things that the governor has the power to do is to pardon prisoners. So, there is a prerogative of mercy committee, which is manned by members who are appointed by the governor, but he chairs that committee. And he also has special responsibilities for some things under the Constitution. What is the Constitution? What is the Constitution? Little ones are tired. The Constitution is that instrument by which the territory is governed, and it sort of really overrides all of the laws we have. So under that Constitution, the Premier has certain responsibilities, the Cabinet has certain responsibilities, Deputy Governor has certain responsibilities, Attorney General, etc., etc. The Registrar of Interests, etc. Lots of responsibilities under the Constitution. One of these days, your school is going to put together a simplified version so that you can understand that document. But right now, anything that is external to the BVI, the governor has responsibility for external affairs. He has responsibility for defense, including the police. So if anything is going to happen to us, it's the governor to the rescue to make sure that we are well taken care of. Then you know about the public service of the Virgin Islands, what we call the civil service. You have lots of people who come down from Virgin Gorda on the boat, and they come to work for government.
Several Virgin Islands Queen's Honors recipients, spoke to students about the honors they received. The honors system recognizes individuals who have made significant achievements in public life and have committed themselves to serving and building the Virgin Islands. Honors are bestowed on individuals for making a difference to their community or field of work, long-term voluntary service, innovation and entrepreneurship, improving the life for people less able to help themselves, and displaying moral courage. Queen's honors are bestowed upon individuals involved in community, voluntary and local services, arts and the media, health, sports, education, science and technology, business and the economy, and civil or political service. Former Deputy Governor Mr. Elton George's CMG, OBE, spoke to the students about the honors he received for his outstanding work in the public service.
Does anyone know what honor is? Honor. Have you ever heard of honor? What have you heard about honor? Do you know how you honor someone? I'm speaking to you now. Loud. Oh, well, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, honor your father and your mother. Have you heard that one? Honor your father and your mother? So what do you think that means? Respect, all right. Well, just as in the case of in the family where you honor or respect your father and your mother, in society at large we have the concept of honor, people being honored or being held up before others as someone who's done something to respect. Now, long ago, it used to be that soldiers in the army, when there were wars, were people those who survived especially, but even those who didn't, were persons who were held up as as persons worthy of respect, because they had fought, they had put their lives in the line for the country and for the other people. And so they used to be decorated so people would know who they are. They not only could wear a uniform, but they were decorated with pretty things on their chest and on their shoulders and badges and so on. And in time, it came to be, I recognized that even though you did not maybe fight in the war, if you've served your country in certain ways in your community, that you should be held up as somebody who is worthy of recognition and the respect of others. And in order to show that, over time they developed a system of honors for persons who serve in the government service, but also persons who just serve in the community and are thought to have served people in the community well. They gave themselves in service to the community. Now, in order to show this, one of the systems developed was the system of the honors by the king or the queen of the day of the country, in our case, of Britain. And so over the past, the queen has been queen since 1952, or thereabouts, 53. Over those years, a number of persons around the world, but even a few in our community, have received honors or recognition that derive from the Queen. And we're going to talk a little bit about those. And to show that, you have actually badges. I have two of the badges in my hand that I received from serving in the government service for years. Any of you are Boy Scouts? Anybody in Boy Scouts or Girl Guides? No Girl Guides here? Brownies? I see one hand. Do you receive badges? Yes, in the Scouts and the Brownies and the Boys Brigade and so on, you also receive a badge to show that you have achieved some particular thing. And that's sort of what these are. Okay? They are named after different orders as the tradition developed. And one of the orders in which you got badges were the order of the most excellent order, it's called, of the British Empire. Okay, we were part and we are part of what remains of the British Empire. And so one of those badges is a badge of an officer of the Order of the British Empire, called OBE for short. And then there's another order that is used called the Order of St. Michael and St. George. Now, if anybody's ever explained the Union Jack to you, you will see in the Union Jack you have different crosses. In the Union Jack, the X cross and the other cross, and those crosses relate to saints of Britain, St. George being the patron saint of Britain, St. Michael being the patron saint of Scotland, and so on. So the Order of St. Michael and St. George, there's one of those badges, the one on the string, called the Companion of the Order of St. Michael and St. George, and that's shortened to CMG. So I am entitled to use the letters after my name in certain circumstances of OBE and CMG. And again, on special occasions like Queen's birthday celebrations, okay, those of us who receive these honors are asked to wear them. You don't wear them normally, obviously. You keep them hidden away. But you are asked to wear them. So it is an honor to be singled out by the governor, who makes the recommendation to the Queen about these honors. It is an honor to be singled out for that. You do feel that, you know, what you have done has been recognized. So I would urge you all, in whatever field you're on, all of us, let me point out, are worthy of honor in some way or the other. We all have done things which are of benefit to the rest of the school or to the rest of the community, and which could be worthy of honor. And so don't think that because I or some other individuals, the deputy governor, have received these kinds of honors, that we are that special. We are all worthy of honor, and of course, we are all in God's sight worthy of honor. So don't you forget that. The lesson is always try to do your best. Okay, in whatever situation you are, try to do your best. Be good to those around you.
Mr. Audley Maduro spoke to the students about the honor he received for his outstanding contributions to the community.
As you heard, and as you can see, this medal I'm wearing was awarded to me for service to the community, OBE. And it was awarded, well, not awarded, but you normally hear around this time, around the time of the Queen's birth date, and New Year's and so on, that the Queen has bestowed the honor of OBE and other awards on certain members in the community. Now this medal represents the OBE, Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. And it was awarded to me for service to the community. Now service to the community don't mean service you provide as an employee. If you're paid to do something, that is not the service that this would be awarded for. It's service to the community. So this medal signifies the award OBE, and as I indicated, it was awarded for service to the community. Now, what is service to the community? Again, it is service you volunteer to provide, and you don't really get paid for it. You're recognized for the service. And some of the services I've been very pleased and privileged to render to this community. I've been able to serve on many statutory boards, the Electricity Corporation, the Health Services. Believe I was the first chairman of both of those statutory bodies. I've been a Rotarian. You may have heard of Rotary. How many of you have heard of the Rotary Clubs of Tortola, of the BVI? And the motto of Rotary is service above self. I'll share a story with you. I was driving through Purcell the other day, and there was a lady with a tray in her hand, a plate or something, and she was selling sugar cakes. Now, I'm a lover of sugar cakes, but somehow I declined to buy any sugar cakes that morning. But as I went about doing what I was on the mission of doing anyway, something pricked my conscience. And the thought occurred to me, now we encounter a number of persons on the street selling one thing or the other. But it suddenly dawned on me that here is a lady, obviously retired and perhaps trying to survive on meager means. And somehow I couldn't fight and I couldn't get rid of the thought, well, why didn't you at least purchase some sugar cakes to help this lady? I didn't have to pass back that way, but I couldn't get my Jeep go any other place, so I went back, and luckily the lady was there, and I gave her some money, and she wanted to give me sugar. I said, no, I don't, thanks for the sugar cakes, but I declined on the sugar cakes this morning. But this community in which where I born, grew up, has been so kind and generous to me. It's a privilege to be able to provide that service. So service to the community for me is a privilege, and more than that, it is a pleasure. I enjoy being of any assistance I can be. So I was really taken aback when one day, not just any one day, but on April the 1st, 1963. And what day is April the 1st? What do we call April the 1st? All Fool's Day. I was on my way to a Rotary meeting. Mr. Georges came up to me. He was the deputy governor at that time. He came up to me and he said, well, he didn't say Miss Smith. He said, Audley, I've been instructed to inform you that you have been selected to receive this honor for the Queen's birthday honor during this time. And who could tell me what was the first thought that came to my mind? And I told you what day it was, right? So what would you think went through my mind? Yeah, of course. He was trying to fool me. I said, Mr. Georges, are you serious? And he said, yes, I'm being serious. I said, well, don't say it with a smile on your face, because I might think you're not serious. He said, no, I'm serious. And he was serious. And then, as the word got around, a very dear friend of me and my family and a number of persons here who know her called me one day to congratulate me, and she said, Audley, do you know you can go to the UK and have the investiture when the medal is actually presented? It's called an investiture. Do you know that you can go to Buckingham Palace and have that medal presented by Her Majesty herself? And I did not know that. So my family and I decided this would be not been to the UK before. So my family and I decided this would be a good opportunity to visit that part of the world, and obviously, I mean, to have the medal bestowed by Her Majesty the Queen. Well, that was what we would call icing on the cake. So we went to the UK, and so this was pinned on, I'm not sure, no, it wasn't the same jacket I was wearing, but Her Majesty the Queen actually pinned the medal on my lapel that day. And the only way to describe an experience like that is to say, well, you felt like you died and you went to heaven. So, again, it's, as far as I'm concerned, a privilege to be of service. And I'm not sure I was going to say I'm sure, but I may not be around to see it. But from what I've been hearing this morning, all you beautiful students, handsome, you will all provide services to the community. So I think there are myths, I'm not sure, that people come back from the dead and so on, and people see them and all that. But if that is possible, I'd love to be able to come back and see all of you wearing one of these, unless it is changed to something else. So it's a privilege and a pleasure to be here, and especially with this, with such an important company. So thank you all very much, and good luck to each and every one of you.
Mr. Elmore Stout, OBE, spoke about the honor he received for his service in education and the community.
2012, at Buckingham Palace, I received the award of OBE. Some people in the BVI over the years have been watching, they have been recording, they have been evaluating, and they were able to say, I think he deserves something for the work done in education to the people of the British Virgin Islands, and also for the culture, the preservation of culture in the BVI. As you do your work at school, as you walk the road, as you play your games, as you talk, as you develop, people in the community will be watching you. Presently, they are watching you. They're listening to what you are saying. And they expect you to develop into the very best young man and young woman. And sometime down the road, somebody's going to say, that chap, that girl, that young lady, that man, that woman. You know, puppy comes dogs, right? Do you know that? And little boys come men. And little girls what? Talk to me, no? Yeah. Now, for education, I've been around a long time teaching all over the place. First, at that little wrong building at Zion Hill called West End Methodist Church Building. I started when I was 14 years old. Woo! And guess what I got when I worked at that time? $20 from every month. That was big money then, right? Nobody ain't talking to me. That was big money, right? Yes. In those days, 1959. But you know, something happened. I didn't get to go to high school. For the mere fact we didn't have that bus service which picks up students nowadays to go to Rotong and come back each day. There weren't any hostels in Rotong or boarding houses. So I had to continue going to the same school, learning the same thing for 2 more years. Had some correspondence courses from America and from Wolseley Hall in England. And then all of a sudden, I began to blossom into a real teacher. I was principal at the Leonora Delville School, principal at Jos Van Dyke School, principal at the Robinson Memorial O'Neill School in Virgin Gorda, principal of the Road Town Primary School, and principal of the then Virgin Islands High School, BVI High School, for 18 years. And lastly, principal of the technical school, which is now in Boggers Bay. That was a long time. Long haul, right? But we also did something else. This award covers the preservation of culture. Now somebody has to answer me. I only want one word. Whatever comes to your mind first, you tell me. What is culture? One word. If you know, put up your hand, and I'll just ask you. Yes, young lady? Talk to me. It's okay. Life. Culture is life. I like that. Culture. Tradition. Woo! The girls are working this morning. Talk to me. Oh, okay. I didn't get it clearly. Talk to me again. Tell me. Push it out. Did she say region? Okay. I begin to get you. It's located in particular areas or regions. Okay. Let's hear from the boys on this side. Tell me. You could talk. Culture is music. Language. So we get it. It's all coming out. It has to do with language, with music, with food, and all dress, etc. I'm going to share one little story with you this morning. Maybe when we come back for Culture Week, we'll have a grand time. Now, your school, Isabella Morris Primary School, is located at Carrot Bay. What are two of the things the people do in Carrot Bay? Anybody can tell me? Talk to me. Fish. Aha. Give that person a hand for me, man. Come on. Lovely. On this side now, what else do they do in Carrot Bay? You see it all the time. What else do they do in Carrot Bay? Then I got to go. Okay, somebody's here. Huh? What did he say? Surf. Well, I can't ignore that. That is beautiful because the tourists comes to the island and they enjoy surfing on the waves at Carrot Bay. Beautiful. I think he needs a hand too. But culturally speaking, there's something else that happens at Carrot Bay. Let's hear from this side. One word. They grow crops, man. Yes. Push it out. Good. The farm and the fish. This morning, you don't see the men like long time with all the nets hang out, but there's a seine. They still catch fish here with the seine. Long time you would meet all the men mending their nets, their fish pots, and getting ready, painting their boats. And that time we didn't have fiberglass boats. We had the wooden boat built by the same men, and they had to caulk it, paint it, and get ready. And they didn't have any outboard engines. They had to row. If they were going from here to Tobago to fish, they had to row. What else did they use to help them to get to Tobago on those same little boats? They put up paddles. Yes, paddles are the same oars, but what else they used? Sails. You see it's coming out this morning? It's coming out. So they used the paddles or the oars and the sails. Now, when I was a young boy growing up on the north side here, early in the morning, before the cocks begin to crow, you could hear whistling. That was a signal, somebody calling somebody to say, come, let's go, come, it's time. You don't want daylight clean and meet you still here and you haven't gone. They're going to Tobago. fish galore was at Tobago Island, which is west of Jost Van Dyke. Or the Cheoin, and they have a song. You know they're being called. Fishermen move early in the morning, just as the cocks begin to crow. Right? And a saying in the BVI, if you don't get up early, people are going to walk over your shadow. And then you're going to have a bad luck that day. So hear the song. Come let we go, come let we go. Hear you answering. The daylight come and the cock crow. Let's try that. This side. Come let we go, come let we go. The daylight come and the cock crow. Let me try that again. Come let we go, come let we go. The daylight come and the cock crow. If we wait till the daylight clean, the fish gonna beat and leave the scene. You know, they want to be there only for when the fish come in and start to beat. If we wait till the daylight clean, the fish will beat and leave the scene. So, come let we go, come let we go. The daylight come and the cock crow. If them by walk over your shadow, you better leave it till tomorrow. Come let we go, come let we go. The daylight come and the cock crow. Now, one last thing though. I'm going to challenge you for a minute. Because some of you here will definitely get some of these awards. And it's going to be higher than the OB because I expect you to do greater things. Look at this. I got a OB, officer of the British, of the Order of the British Empire. But you are going to get K, you're going to be knighted. Somebody here, and somebody here is going to be a commander, and all the rest. But you got to do some stuff. Who can tell me what you got to do? Who can tell me what you got to do? Hey, you got to work how? Hard. When? All the time. Yeah, consistently. All the time. You got to be the best that you can. People are watching. Do you know that people are watching you every day? And they're expecting what from you? Yes, yes, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you play with your friends, how you treat them, and that kind of stuff, you know? And now you got something inside here where people can't see. People can't see it, but it comes out. I wonder if anybody can tell me what they can't see, but it comes out. What is it? Oh, yes, I'm getting so many things they love. And tell me something else that people can't see sometimes. Your heart. Oh, whether it's warm or cold, huh? But it comes out by the way how you treat people, right? What about the way you think? The way you think. So as a result of the thinking, what comes out? Give me another word begin with T. It's the past tense of think, to the thought. The thought comes, yeah. And where does the thought come from? The brains or? The mind. The heart. Oh, shiver me timbers. Yes, yes. It comes from the heart. Beautiful. And what kind of thoughts do we have? Give me one side. Good thoughts. And the next one is? Positive. Positive goes with the good. Positive thoughts, good thoughts. The other side now. Say it loud. Bad, beautiful, beautiful. Don't be afraid to talk up. Give me some skin, man. Beautiful. Bad thoughts, good thoughts. And as a result of good thoughts and positive thoughts, we get good what? Whoa! I like that. Good actions. Good actions. And as a result of bad thoughts, what do we get? You see that? See that? And when you do bad actions, what's going to be happening to you? Bad things like, yes, you're afraid to say it? Yes, bad things. See the police right down there? And see the governor who's in charge of the police and security. We all are expecting you to do what is right and positive so that you have good thoughts, good actions, good deeds, and as a result, we're going to build good young men and good young women. We say, you agree? Do you agree? So one day, I'm going to be a very old fellow, but I'm going to see one or two of you walk up to the governor's office or to Buckingham Palace and receive some of the awards. Continue to work hard. Thank you.
Mr. Ulrich Scatliff, MBE, spoke about the honor he received for his services as a Chief Scouting Commissioner.
There's a committee, a selective committee, who's set up to submit names to the governor. The governor in turn submit names to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in England, and then those names are forwarded to the Queen. And she looked at them and she responded, and then the information gets back to the governor, and he in turn called the recipient and said, look, congratulations. And you wanting to know what the governor is congratulating you for. Well, in my case, that's how it was. The governor was known by me as the Chief Scout of the BVI, and he called me one day and he said, I want to be the first to congratulate you on the MBE. So I just looked at him and said, MBE? Say yes. Now there are two options when you get your award. You can receive them locally, or you can go to London to receive them. I opted for the second option, in that I've been in London for about 4 times before, but my wife was not there and she hadn't seen Buckingham Palace. So we agreed to take the trip to London to receive the award. This was done in October 10th, 2010. We had a couple of days before the award ceremony, and we had a couple of days after the award ceremony, so we had some time to look at the UK. And it's an investiture ceremony that takes place every year. About 120 recipients on a regular basis. In my case, we were only 90. And the Queen herself took it upon her to pin on all 90 recipients. And that was done in 1 hour. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, you know. And she was so calm and humble. And she asked me one question which I had to share with you. How are the Virgin Islands doing? So I said to her, we're doing well, but we can do better. And she just smiled and continued her work. There's a DVD that is prepared with the entire investiture ceremony of all the 90 participants. The time wasn't granted me, so I couldn't walk with the CD, the DVD, so that you can see what was going on. But I was fortunate to bring along with me the picture of the Queen pinning on my award and the award that I got, member of the British Empire. Mr. Wheatley will bring it around so that you can see. Now, I was very humbled to receive an award like this. What was it given to me for? Over the years, I've been doing a lot of youth work, community, church, and in general. And in addition to that, I've been in scouting for over, shouldn't tell you, but when I got the award, I had passed 50 years doing scouting in the Virgin Islands and in the Caribbean. So because of that, I was nominated to receive an award from the Queen. And I take it a pleasure to have that and to wear it. And I will encourage all of you young people as you grow up, strive for better things. Continue to serve your community, and teachers, I will be coming to you after I finish. Do some sort of community work, some sort of other work other than teaching, and you don't know when your name will appear on that list for an award. I want to thank the Deputy Governor and all the others for including me in the tour. And all of you here, I want to thank you for just listening and being a part of this grand occasion. I was fortunate when the Queen came here the first time to be on track. I met her at Government House, I met her at the old post office, and I met her at the primary school. On several other occasions I met the Queen. And my final occasion was when she pinned that medal on the nation of my goals. So you see, it's great to be a youth worker, serving the community. You don't know what will happen at the end of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for viewing this special program featuring the 2016 road shows to the territory schools, where students across the Virgin Islands learned more about the monarchy, the role of the governor, the recipients of Queen's honors, and the 90th birthday celebrations of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
After three, happy birthday, Her Majesty the Queen. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, Her Majesty.